Ellison.
Mr. Chairman, ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record a report in banking on the hard sell, low wages, and aggressive sales metrics put bank workers and customers at risk. I'd like to enter it into the record.
Without objection.
I'd also like to enter into the record an op-ed I wrote in the Daily Beast just the other day entitled John Stumpf's Wells Fargo Racket Shows Why Bank Workers Need a Union.
Without objection.
And I'd also just like to note for my colleagues, the Progressive Caucus held a June 10th briefing listening to the workers that we've been talking about today. We'd be happy to do another one, but on June 10th, we had workers come in and testify to the very thing that we've been talking about today, which is these high-pressure sales techniques. Mr. Stumpf, if you're a worker at Wells Fargo, and you are expected to seek out and reach sales goals. You mentioned that, right?
We had sales goals.
That's a yes or no, sir. Yes or no, sir, because I don't have a lot of time. I'm not trying to be unkind to you, but I'm not going to let you waste my time. Okay, so yes or no?
Yes, we had sales
goals.
Thank you.
So could you tell me, do you all have something known as prospecting calls that were expected for bankers to make?
I don't know that level of detail.
So you don't know whether there was prospecting.
I
would you be surprised? Do you deny that there were prospecting calls?
I do not know that level of detail in our retail bank.
Are you aware that each banker was expected to make at least 100 prospecting calls a day? Are you aware of that?
That's the first time I've ever heard that.
Mr. CEO Chairman, are you aware that there were weekly meetings held by morning huddles to talk about these sales goals? Are you aware of that?
I know that some.
You got to answer yes or no, sir.
But it's yes with an explanation.
Well, okay, so morning huddles or not, yes or no? Did they occur?
Yes, with an explanation.
All right. At these morning huddles, were there questions asked of workers? How are they going to sell more credit cards? And were they given goals for specifically selling a number of credit cards?
I don't know that everyone holds. I have to give you an explanation, sir.
Home equity loans. Were they given goals? And
I don't know that. I don't know that every branch held a morning huddle. I know our team works together.
Were there publishing of charts on who sold how many products in your bank?
That's a level I do not know that.
Were they publishing charts on who did not make their sales goals?
Again, I don't have that level of detail.
Workers say that there were.
Okay.
Now, if a worker did not reach their sales goals, were they put on initial written warnings?
I don't know the process, and we got rid of sales goals.
Excuse me, if workers did not meet second sales goals again, were they given second warnings?
I don't know that level of detail.
Okay, if they were not reached second warnings, were they written up, given written admonishments for not making sales goals?
Congressman, you're asking a question I can't answer.
So you're the CEO and you don't know this. And were they given performance improvement plans if they did not make sales goals?
Congressman, I don't know that level of detail.
All right. And how did you generate these lists for workers to have to make calls? How were the lists generated?
Congressman, I don't even know if there were lists. I just don't know that level of detail.
Okay, so you're the CEO and you don't know if there were if there were prospecting lists that each worker was made to make cold calls on.
I don't know that level of detail, Congressman.
Okay, and if sales weren't important, why were workers given credit card equity loan goals to meet?
Yeah, I don't know what their goals were. We want to deepen relationships.
Why were workers encouraged to open numerous accounts for customers?
Our team members are encouraged to stand with a customer, talk about their financial journey, and help provide the right products and services.
So if a worker got a person to open up an account, isn't it true that account, let's say a debit account, that there has to be a certain minimum balance in that account, and there is a fee to hold that account if there's not the minimum balance met? Am I right about that?
I don't believe you are right about that, Congressman.
If there's an account,
I don't believe that's correct.
If there's an account, does there have to be a certain number of uses of that debit account per month?
I believe that's one way to avoid.
And if there's not met, is there a fee associated with that?
I believe there's a minimum balance.
What is that fee? What is the minimum balance fee?
I don't know what those numbers are.
Time of the gentleman has expired.